much for joining us here on Times Now. I'm Hina Gambhir, and viewers, this is Times Now Live. Today, our focus is on the aviation sector. Year 2025 for the aviation sector across the world has been quite a turbulent one. Remember, after AI-171 crash, the focus was on Boeing aircraft, and today the story that we are going to tell you is about Airbus aircraft, another plane manufacturer. Viewers, is Airbus's A320 aircraft not safe to fly? Well, this question is being asked today because an advisory by the plane maker Airbus on Friday sent airlines across the world in a tizzy. Airbus said intense solar radiation can corrupt data critical to flight control system. And this is the advisory that I'm talking about that Airbus had put out. Simply put, A320 family jets require urgent software or hardware updates. And till it's done, they aren't fit to fly. What was the result? 6,000 A320 aircraft across the world got impacted, including 338 planes in India itself. So 6,000 in total across the world. 338 out of these 6,000 are in India. Now, A320 is part of the fleet of 3 airlines in India: Indigo, Air India and Air India Express. Indigo's 200 aircraft were impacted, followed by 113 aircraft of Air India. And as far as Air India Express is concerned, then 25 of the impacted aircraft belong to Air India Express. When this advisory came, around 3,000 A320 family jets were mid-air across the world. The airlines have been given time till 5:30 a.m. on Sunday to upgrade this important software. Now, the advisory caused panic. It led to inconvenience to passengers across the world because of flight cancellations and delays. In India, the situation wasn't that bad. Of course, there was a bit of chaos initially. Airlines started sending out messages that, passengers or air travelers should check with the airlines before leaving for the airport because there could be some delays. So there were delays, yes, but no cancellations as far as the big airlines are concerned, like Air India and Indigo. However, Air India Express had 4 cancellations as far as DGCA's latest data is concerned. Now, DGCA, India's aviation watchdog, issued a mandatory modification directive. DGCA asked Indian Airlines to not fly affected aircraft A320 until urgent software or hardware modifications mandated by Airbus are carried out. Now, as per the latest update, the airlines should be able to complete the entire process within the given time frame, which is early morning tomorrow. There have been 0 cancellations due to this, but in Air India and Indigo, 4 cancellations in Air India Express here in India, but globally, of course, this move has led to cancellations. Now, the question really is, what triggered the alarm by Airbus? Now, viewers, this alert follows probe into an incident involving a JetBlue A320, and that too, the incident that took place in October. Now, this was flying between US and Mexico, and suddenly this particular aircraft lost altitude. There was a sudden flight control issue mid-air that forced an emergency landing in Florida. At least 15 passengers and crew members sustained injuries. Now, according to Airbus, intense solar radiation at that time may have caused corruption of data that perhaps triggered abrupt descent. And following the investigation into this case, viewers, Airbus came out with this precautionary measure for its A320 family across the world. Now we have some breaking inputs as well coming in. Airbus CEO has issued a statement, and I'm quoting him here. The fix required on some A320 aircraft has been causing significant logistical challenges and delays since yesterday. He says, I want to sincerely apologize to our airline customers and passengers who are impacted, but we consider that nothing is more important than safety when people fly on one of our Airbus aircraft, like millions do every day. So this is the post, in fact, that you can see on your screens right now. This is by Airbus CEO, and he's also mentioned that the teams are working round the clock to support the operators and ensure these updates are deployed as swiftly as possible to get the planes back in the sky and resume normal operations, with safety assurances coming in from Airbus. And viewers, we have some more breaking inputs coming in. DGCA has also issued another statement. This is the second compliance status report that has been put out by DGCA, in which DGCA has given us a status update. So out of the 338 aircraft which needed software upgradation, we are being told in 270 planes the software has been upgraded already. 68 aircraft are left, and that is also likely to be completed by later tonight or tomorrow early morning. Joining us on the broadcast right now is my colleague Isha for more updates on this. Isha, so as per DGCA's compliance report, there were just 4 cancellations because of this process that was going on. But tell us a little bit about the delays and what else has DGCA mentioned.
Right, Hina. So this is more of a precautionary measure that the DGCA and other aviation bodies have undertaken, because this particular accident that has been averted so far is that the airline dropped a few meters in altitude. But also important to remember that at that time the autopilot was on, so no serious issue had taken place. But the European Union came forward and issued an advisory, and so did the DGCA. And now, in fact, the DGCA also instructed all Indian airlines, which did include Air India, Air India's SpiceJet, and Air India Express and Indigo, to conduct necessary checks and to also perform the software upgradation. It's also important to note, Hina, that this is just a mere software upgradation, which can be very critical to a plane's safety, and it's also very important, but this is a precautionary measure that has been successfully completed. In fact, the update at 5:30 p.m. the DGCA on sources have shared with us is that out of the 338 total affected aircrafts, 270 have been completed. 270 software upgradations have been completed. 68 aircraft are remaining. In fact, no serious cancellations, as you were also pointing out, have been mentioned so far. And what we're expecting is that by tomorrow or early morning or by later tonight, this also may be resolved. However, this was the EASA Emergency Airworthiness Directive which led to all of this action that took place. Airbus also then came out and issued an alert. However, what the important bit is that the ELAC was the one that was affected, and ELAC is very critical in identifying and in determining how up and down the plane goes. So now in India, what is being ensured is that that there is no loss of flight, that this security upgradation can take place successfully. DGCA has told us that most of it is done, and also Air India on sources have also confirmed to us, sources the airline have confirmed to us that about 80% of software upgradation is done. So it does seem positive on the ground, and also because not major delays have been reported from the ground as well. Back to you.
Thank you very much for the moment for joining us with your inputs on this story. Let's now go across to our guests who are joining us on the broadcast as well. We have Parvez Damania, ex-ED Kingfisher Airlines. We also have with us Captain Saurabh Bhatnagar, former A320 pilot, and Sanjay Lazar, aviation expert and CEO, Airlines. Thank you very much, all of you gentlemen. Appreciate you joining us here on this special edition on Times Now. Captain Saurabh Bhatnagar, can you simplify for our viewers what the problem really was in the A320 planes that Airbus wanted fixed, across the world?
Hi, good evening. Actually, Airbus 320 is a fly-by-wire aircraft. It means in layman terminology that there are 7 computers on the airplane which fly the aircraft. 2 of these computers called ELAC, ELAC 1, ELAC 2, they are called, the name is elevators and aileron computers. ELAC 2 is primarily responsible for their nose up and nose down, and ELAC 1 for aileron. What the inquiry or whatever they found out was this was because of the intense cosmic radiation which caused the data correction. ELAC 2. ELAC 2 is the main computer to control the pitch up and pitch down. Even whenever the ELAC 2 is not working, the Airbus mandates that the aircraft will not be dispatched, because ELAC 1 is only a standby for ELAC 2. ELAC 1 is for aileron. So basically what I could gather was that there was a data corruption because of this intense cosmic radiation. It is not that the computer is not designed. They are designed to mitigate these kinds of incidents. But this one, which was because of this extreme solar radiation, this charge which entered into the chip of ELAC 2, that's what I read, cause this data corruption. And because of this, the computer sends the uncommanded pitch down command to the hydraulic motors, which is controlling the elevator. So that happened and the autopilot got disconnected because of the wrong command from the computer because of this data corruption, which something called, I read, it's called bit flip or single end something, it's called a bit flip. So I'm not very, aware about what is the main, the thing about, but problem was because of this data corruption, the computers are designed, they have the extra memory bits, but this was a very high charge neutron which entered into the chip and caused electric current and got this spike.
Okay. So as an air traveler, I am quite concerned today. My viewers are concerned as well. You know how this aircraft really functions. So is this normal, something that has happened? And also, can you tell us, will this software upgrade ensure safety of this particular plane when it, flies again?
100%. See, this is just a software upgrade. See, the Earth is being bombarded. It's by the cosmic rays throughout. It's the atmosphere which shields it. But at the height of 30,000 feet, there are more neutrons which entering that, they call it neutron flux. So it is just an upgrade which is required. It's not a normal thing of, it's one of these rare incidents which happen. And that's what to mitigate these incidents, the computers are designed or the software upgrade is taking place. Older aircraft may have to go on some hardware upgrade also. But it's not, which is a very, very, I would say, the serious incidents. It's a safety advisory mandated by the Airbus to carry. Everybody has to carry the software upgrade to avoid these kinds of intense solar radiation or cosmic showers, we call it. It is though predictable, but no, it's one of its kind. So that's what they are taking the action against that. Nothing else. Absolutely, aircraft it's one of the safest aircraft. I've got more than 5,000 hours as pilot in command on this aircraft itself. Right. So I would say that, yes, that's just one of its kind incident, and everybody's taking the due procedure to mitigate this for a recurrence of this in future.
Okay, Sanjay Lazar. Now these concerns are there today because if you look at the year 2025, it's been quite a turbulent year for the aviation sector, not just in India but across the world. We can never forget what happened with the Boeing plane, that was involved in AI-171, and that is the reason why any time we hear about these kind of precautionary measures or advisories from the plane makers, there are concerns. How will you like to respond to the way this entire issue came to fore and the way it is being managed?
Thank you, let's not forget that air travel is still the safest mode of transport on Earth. You are more likely to have an accident on a road driving a car or crossing a road than perishing in an aircraft. Yes, 2025 has been a very dark year for all of us in aviation across the globe, and the memories of 171 are still very fresh amongst all of us. But credit to where it's due, Airbus noted the incident with JetBlue. They went into immediate investigation, and it's less than 30 days. They've come out with a report, they've come out with a fix, and they've brought out a solution pretty quickly with EASA mandated yesterday. And you can see in India alone, the DGCA acted, we've got compliance, almost 80% compliance by evening. This evening, the 6 o'clock bulletin, if you look at the DGCA, around the world also, though there are about 6,000 aircraft allegedly needing this fix, we do expect it will come out pretty quickly. So hats off to Airbus, EASA, of course, the DGCA for having controlled it. Mind you, there are about 1,000 aircrafts in the world which will require a hardware fix, which may not be a 2-hour fix, which may be a mean grounding of the aircraft, removal of the part and bringing in the new part. So the older generation of Airbus would require that. But I still believe that, it's the safest aircraft going. Customers should not be too troubled. Yes, some delays might occur across the network, but I still think that it's, the safest mode of transport.
Okay. Parvez Damania, now, another aspect that I'd like to highlight is how do these upgrades really happen? Because what we have learned after talking to people is that it's a process that takes about 45 minutes to about 1 hour. And perhaps that's the reason why, the process has already been completed in about 270 odd planes. There have not really been, many cancellations except 4 involving Air India Express, but perhaps there have been some delays. So how does it really work on the ground?
First and foremost, I want to tell you that your colleagues on the television have already clarified this. There is absolutely no safety risk as far as passengers are concerned. The Airbus A320 is a narrow-bodied aircraft, one of the most successful, I would say the most successful narrow-bodied aircraft in the world. There are about 11,500 manufactured and are flying all over the world. India was one of the first customers to induct the Airbus A320, and we have had an excellent record of it. Now, about 6,000 aircrafts have been affected by this upgradation. This upgradation is very simple. I think it's just upgradation of the computer system. Like the captain said, some aircraft, some certain models might require some hardware upgradation also, which will take time. But the DGCA in India has acted very swiftly, and both the airlines, Air India and Indigo, which fly the Airbus A320, have moved very swiftly and with absolutely no or negligible cancellations have put all the aircrafts on track. By about afternoon itself, Air India said 60% of their fleet upgradation had been completed, and I think Indigo is done with the same speed.
Yeah.
So I don't think, and the upgradation is a very, very minor process. It moves very quickly, like the captain said, except for the part where the older aircraft, where the work would require more work. That is all. Otherwise, I don't think there is any risk in this at all.
Okay.
So I think it's just a computer system upgradation is done in no time at all.
Okay.
And which is almost completed by now.
Okay.
And as far as the passengers, I think the airlines also have handled the situation very well, informed the passengers, kept them informed, and kept cancellations and delay to a minimum.
Okay. Captain Bhatnagar, now as Mr. Damania mentioned that, DGCA acted swiftly, airlines were also on the job, I think, the moment this advisory came. And it's very interesting to see how it all really happened, sharing compliance reports, etc., keeping everyone informed as to what is really going on with Airbus A320 planes. And this incident, in fact, that triggered this kind of an advisory took place on 30th of October. Do you think we should also learn lessons? The sector should also learn lessons from this kind of swift movement by the plane maker? Because in the case of Boeing as well, in the recent past, we have discussed many a times that how investigation reports take so much of time. It takes so much of time that we also forget what had happened, with a particular plane. Things move on, and perhaps, we wait for something else to happen. But in this case, Airbus moved swiftly. I mean, here also, what happened on October 30, sudden descent of the plane led to some 15-odd passengers sustaining injuries. So can't we have the same kind of a process in place, when it comes to Boeing or other planes?
See, we are not the manufacturers of the aeroplane. It is the manufacturer who finally, and I must commend the
No, investigation also was completed so quickly. I mean, that's the point that I want you to focus on. I mean, why can't investigations be completed quickly? We still don't know what went wrong with AI-171.
You're right. The investigation should be completed in a time-bound manner. In this particular incident...
No, but
Right. So they're doing a job. That is a sort of thing, because of this computer is critical to the control of the aeroplane.
No, I completely get your point. But Mr. Parvez Dabania, the point that I'm trying to make here is that 30th of October, an incident happened. Passengers, crew members sustained injuries.
But a computer upgradation...
But sir,
a computer upgradation and finding the fault while the finding a fault while the aircraft lost altitude and a computer upgradation is very, very different from, God forbid, what happened with the flight 171.
Okay.
That was a crash. A lot of people died. It was a very tragic incident, and that.
No, my simple point here that I would like all of you gentlemen to focus on is why can't the investigation process be expedited in other cases also? That's my limited point that I want to make here. Parvez Damania, yes.
No, no, the investigation process is on, and all the bodies involved, Airbus, Honeywell, GE, everybody is working on it, and I'm sure a very detailed investigation report will come out. So I don't think anything is swept under the carpet.
Okay.
We just need to wait, and a detailed report will come out. We need the initial report came out. We saw the initial report came out exactly in 30 days, where the government has pointed out all the parameters which they've clarified that these were not responsible for the crash. But up till now, we've not been able to really pinpoint the main reason, which we will know over a period of time. So
Captain
the
Bhatnagar also
investigation
wants to
for
come
a
in.
crash
Okay.
where the plane hull was completely destroyed.
See, it depends upon what kind of investigation are we talking about. Are we talking about investigation of an incident like this, which is a simple computer update because the part was critical? Or are we talking about an accident like AI-171? You can't compare these two investigations. It depends upon the investigation of an incident, serious incidents, or actually an accident where the loss of lives have taken place. So, yes, it has to be completed in a time-bound manner. But in this case, it was easy to do an investigation because of an incident where there was no loss of life has taken place, there was no crash happened. So they were easy to pinpoint because they were easy to pinpoint because it was only one computer. There are 7, only one computer controls this pitch. So it was easy to pinpoint why the software malfunctioned, and they could localize the fault because of the intense solar radiation, which actually generated the current inside the computer, and which did the single even upset, what they call it, and which corrupted the data. And that is why the autopilot sends the wrong signal to the control surfaces motors to disconnect the autopilot for a nose down attitude.
Okay.
So I'm talking about that. Both things are different. You can't
Well,
compare.
Sanjay Lazar, the only reason why I mentioned about AI-171 because it's fresh in our memory. And I started only by saying that 2025 has indeed been a turbulent year for the entire aviation sector. That involved Boeing aircraft, and of course, a lot happened. We spoke about how whistleblowers had raised concerns as well. So my point is, again, that I asked these two gentlemen earlier that, the way here everything was time-bound, everything, followed a certain timeline. Can't we have a process in place wherein the investigations and the processes are expedited so that we get to know in time the reasons behind such issues or any other issue that perhaps led to, any kind of an incident? I mean, we just get to know there was some technical glitch and then we don't know what happens.
Well, Hina, I agree with Mr. Damania and Captain Saurabh.
No, it should be time bound, and
Okay.
And like the initial report was supposed to be given out to the public within 30 days,
But
which was
sir, initial
done.
report
Now,
also gave a clean chit to the engine maker as well as the manufacturer of the plane. Sanjay Lazar, closing comments.
Yeah, no, this incident with the Airbus actually shows the difference. If you go back to the 737 MAX incident, it was covered up till we had 2 terrible accidents.
Yes.
Airbus has learnt, or both manufacturers seem to have learnt. AI-171 is a tragedy. Yes, we got a report in 30 days. Hopefully, we'll get the final report soon. But I commend Airbus and I commend the DGCA and EASA. They've acted quickly, transparently, and been very clear with everything that went wrong in this particular incident. And this is the sign of the changing times. I do hope in time that you've raised 171, though it was not part of, linked to this at all. That's very, very tragic. And we pray and hope that we'll get a report soon.
Absolutely.
As far as time-bound, the rules have the time-bound space, and we are still within that time. So it's not as though, we've exceeded that. Okay. An airline aircraft accident cannot happen in 15 days, 20 days. It takes a long time. It's quite a deliberate procedure.
Absolutely. We are completely out of time. I leave it there. Thank you very much, all of you gentlemen, for joining us here on this discussion. Parvez Damania, Captain Saurabh Bhatnagar and Sanjay Lazar. Appreciate all of you for joining us today. Heading into a short break.